Hey there, hey, it's Michelle with Brilliant Quest. And today I'm going to ask you, who you be? Who this? Who am I? What's my personality? I love this quest that we have to always be figuring out, who am I? What is the meaning of me? I actually have a manual on like the book of me because it's that important to me. And I wanted to put this out because recently I kind of like clashed with someone over personality and the idea of personality. So in my other life of providing therapy, counseling, those types of things, when I was doing continuing ed, I learned that we weren't using personality indicators anymore. Now, this was years ago, and it was shocking. It was the clutching of the invisible pearls. What? We're not using personality indicators anymore? And this was around the time when people were learning that Briggs Myers was junk science. I hate to say it. It was pseudoscience. And that explained a lot of why people kept changing. You know, they would take the test at a particular time and then take it at another time. They'd be a totally different, combination of the letters. And so the person that I kind of ran into it with was really into Enneagram. And they were trying to tell me I'm this type. And I was like, yeah, today. And I should have just shut my mouth while I was ahead. But being me, was like, we don't really use that anymore. Instead, we use traits. And so, of course, other people in the conversation were like, what? Because a few people said, I don't like those personality typing tests. They never seem to peg me. I'm agnostic when it comes to personality. And so when I started talking about traits instead of personality, it started to click to me that a lot of people would probably benefit from this because, yeah, if you are told you are a certain way, it will continuously keep you pegged into believing that you should be that certain way for the rest of your life. And I'm here to tell you, yes, now I'll just go and say, it's my opinion, but I'm here to tell you that personality is not going to always be the same through your life. Because if it were, you would behave the way you did at 10 when you're 80. Now, some people can achieve that and pull that off very well, but the rest of us, we grow, we evolve, we go through lifespan development benchmarks. When I was a child, I did childish things, but now that I'm an adult, I put away those childish things, you see? And so just like that, personality can happen. What if I told you that, yeah, you might have been in House Huff and Puff, but now you in Ravenclaw? And you'd be like, oh, I can see that because you change. You change. And one thing about, and I made that Harry Potter reference in case you didn't catch it. But one thing about Harry Potter, when they had the sorting hat, so many people were reaching out and like, yes, tell me who I am. Yes, you do it. And it's fun if you are in those stages. But when you are in your big ages, like me and possibly you, that doesn't work because you can't peg it. One day I might be this and the other day I might be that. And then the other day, I don't fit in anywhere. And so it gives you a bandwidth of understanding that personality isn't permanent. So much so that I have a book for you today. Yay! I love my books. And again, this is another one that I listened to it on audio. And then I went on and got it. And this one is actually not paperback. It's hardback. But it's called Personality Isn't Permanent by Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And it is an easy read. You can get through it quickly. And one of the things that really resonated with me in how he started it with saying, a personality test almost ruined my life. He said, that's actually the intro. So you can see I'm not making this up. He said, a personality test almost ruined my life. And I felt that down in my soul because so did it for me. And I knew something was wrong when I was taking these personality tests back then. And oh yes, I'm going to put this link in the description so you can check it out or pin it somewhere. And one of the things that got me was when I would take these tests and it would say I was this and that. And I was like, no, I'm not. I always felt like I had to cheat and take it again and try to make it say who I believed I was. You shouldn't have to do that. So today I'm going to talk to you about a way of trying to get a better understanding because there are always going to be personality tests. And don't go say, Michelle hates all personality tests. If they help you, use them. But if they don't, understand that you can look at different traits and tendencies out there. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a few. I have another book I'm going to recommend, and I don't have it in paperback, so I'm going to try to see if I can show you the face of it on this little thing. I don't know, but anyway, I'll make sure it's in the notes. So, personality. Who are you? What do you do? What constitutes what makes you tick? And one of the best ways, and it's free. Yeah, you can go because it's not going to necessarily. Well, you will find some companies that will charge you to quantify and measure these components of your makeup. But you can just read it on Wikipedia and figure it out. So much so that that's what I'm going to do. And this is called the Big Five. The Big Five personality traits. Personality traits. And when we talk about personality traits, what we're doing is we're looking at parts of society's behaviors, and a mix of them will help you to understand where you might fall. Now, the traits go across cultures, ethnic expressions, and locations. And so that's another reason why you'll find that more people in the counseling, the therapy, those communities, they will rely more on traits than they will on personalities now. Okay, so the big five, and the way to remember them, they have acronyms. They either have ocean, or canoe. And so that's how you can remember them. So I'm going to read them off in the order of where they spell canoe. So you have C for conscientiousness. And yes, I'm reading. That's why I got my glasses on. So anyway, you have C for conscientiousness. And that is a range of how either efficient and organized or extravagant and careless you are. So if you're highly conscientious, you're going to be kind of tight-knit, very organized, and very no nonsense. Let's just get it done. And you're about that producing life. As one of my friends say, I'm not effing around. Okay. So you're highly conscientious. Okay. The next one is A of the canoe, which is agreeableness. And that one has a range of how friendly and compassionate you are versus how critical or rational you are. And so you can kind of like figure out your gauge if you're highly agreeable or not so much. If people work your nerves really fast and you're like, you're doing the most, you might be in tribe critical rational. But if you're like, all is love, everybody, I just want everything and everybody to get along, you are in team high agreeable. All right. And again, like I said, Wikipedia, that's all I'm using right here. And I'm pretty sure that you're probably like, oh, okay, for each one of them. So we've done C and A, we've done conscientious and agreeable. Let's get that in. And baby, that N, ooh, now that is the one where folks kind of like, I'm nowhere on that scale. All right. But the N stands for neuroticism. And neuroticism can range from how sensitive and nervous you are all the way up to how resilient and confident you are. All right. And so you can tell if you are highly neurotic, like they're out to get me, or you are on the other end of you're resilient. Nothing's going to break my stride. That old song, nothing's going to hold me down. Oh no. Anyway, resilient and confident. All right. So now here's the O. The O is for openness, and openness is open to experiences, but how adventurous you are. And so it's on the one hand, how inventive and curious. And please, if you haven't, check out my video on curiosity. I take 20 minutes to break down a training that I do in Brilliant Quest that will help you to learn how to get ahead. So anyway, I digress. Focus, Michelle. All right. So on openness to experience, it's all the way from how inventive and curious you are versus how consistent and cautious you are. All right. So that's how open you are to new experiences. And then the last one is E, and that is extraversion. And extraversion ranges from how outgoing and energetic you are versus how solitary and reserved you are. Now, I hope you can start to see these patterns that given the day, you can have a range. There are days, many days, when I don't have this energy. And I'm like, I don't like people. I just want to be in my little cave. I just want to read, And then there are days I'm like, hey, y'all, hey, that type of thing. And that is another reason why a lot of people don't like personality tests, because they don't know which day they're having a highly neurotic day. They're on edge, they're nervous, or they're rigid. They don't know how conscientious, they might be feeling. But then you have some people who are always the same. They're about that. You better be on time, life, the conscientious people. And then another thing about this is, depending on the people that you find yourself around, we have this weird kind of thing as humans when we're very tribal. And when we're in a group, we unconsciously take on parts that we play. And depending on the makeup and how strongly someone inhabits a part, we might have been that, but we fall into another area with a different mix where we behave differently. Have you ever heard someone say, I don't like the way I behave when I'm around that person or that group? This might be what's going on. The traits are showing up. All right. Now, I've got some other stuff that I want to talk to you about with Tendencies by Gretchen Rubin, but I want to finish up the big traits. So the big 5 traits, like I said, to remember them, you can use ocean or canoe. And For canoe, C-A-N-O-E, it's going to be conscientiousness. That's either how efficient and organized, or how all the way over to how extravagant and careless you are. Then we've got how agreeable you are. That's how friendly and compassionate you are, versus the extreme of that is how critical and rational. Then we've got that end one, neuroticism. Nobody wants to be on the high part. And that's how sensitive and nervous you are versus how resilient and confident you are. And then openness to experience. That one's going to be how inventive and curious you are versus how consistent and cautious you are. If you are low openness to experience, you're going to be that person like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, we got to change. Who said we need to update? Okay. And then the last one is extraversion. And that is going to be how outgoing and energetic you are versus on the extreme, how solitary and reserved you are. And as I said before, it can change from day to day. It can definitely change depending on the mix and makeup of people you're with. If, for instance, you have a partner and you guys vibe very well, it's a lot of times you're able to not just play one part, but you're able to go through all of the extremes to meet the needs of each other at that given time. And that is why we tend to like to use traits more than personality inventories, because a personality inventory could work, but it's got to be the picture, because it's a snapshot of you. It's got to be that picture, that snapshot of you that was taken at that time that you like. Because inevitably, if it veers and it tells you some stuff, you're like, that's not me. It goes out the door. It's invalidated. But at least with the traits, you can find these across cultures, across locations, languages, ethnicity expressions, and they tend to help people. Now, I also want to talk about, shout out to Gretchen Rubin. She has what are called the 4 tendencies. And I have a special place in my heart for tendencies, because before Gretchen came up with this brilliant but simple 4 stages of tendencies or types, my grandmother used to talk about tendencies. She would say something like, yeah, I can tell, tell me who you are, but I know you by what you tend to do. And with tendencies, again, they are not, well, you could say, oh, this person is forever going to be an upholder. But because it's a tendency, it stands to be truer than if you're looking at a snapshot of a personality grid in a given day. So she's got 4 of them, and she actually has a free test that you can take, by the way. So of course she's got her upholders. She's got the rebels. She's got the sociable. They're like, oh, everything is fine, and I'll do this, because the group is dependent on me. And then she's got her curious, her questioners. And I guess y'all know where I land on that with the questions. So again, she's got the upholders. They're the backbones of society. She's got the sociables. They're the ones that make up the majority of society. And they're usually willing to do more when someone is dependent on them than when they're not. Then she's got the questioners. They're going to question everything, honey. What means this? Well, why? They have high curiosity quotients. If you watch that video, you know what I'm talking about there. And then you have your rebels. They're going to rebel against you, them, and themselves. So they're just contrarians. They're just not going to do it. And it's just fun. Now, I'll try to make sure that I put a link in the description so you can check Miss Gretchen Rubin's 4 tendencies out. And she does have a free assessment that you can take online to see where you fall on those tendencies. So you guys, thank you so much. I am loving the feedback. Please, in the comments, tell me if this resonates with you. Or are you still just not going to give personalities a chance? Not that you have to, but I just want you to know that if you have felt like this is not telling me or helping me, please consider looking at the 5 personality types: canoe, ocean, the way to remember them. Check out the book, Personality Isn't Permanent. And now I want to talk to you about how this can be applicable when you're working with people. So I've talked about the 4 tendencies from Rubin Gretchen, and I've talked about the big 5. Now I want to talk about another book that I absolutely cannot say enough about. And it's called Captivate, The Science of Succeeding with People by Vanessa Van Edwards. I don't know if you can see this, but this is the book cover. It's called Captivate by Vanessa Van Edwards. What she does in this book is amazing. Now you will find her talking about the 5 traits and how they helped her to correct a situation at a job in the mid to later part. So it's worth it. If you don't do anything else, make sure that you go through that, because she does one of the best jobs that I have experienced thus far of explaining what the 5 traits look like in the wild. And she talked about a situation where she had brought on someone and she was managing them and everything started out great. And then it just fell apart and she tried to figure out what was going on. Well, when she started getting feedback from this person and applying the traits, because the traits will show up, she was able to realize that it was, and the thing I liked about it is she fessed up. She was like, I'm the manager. This falls on me. And she course corrected, and she was able to get the best she could out of this person's work after that, because she understood their mixes. Not only where this person landed on on the 5 traits, but where she landed, and as a manager, how she can manage herself to bring out the best of this other person's traits without making assumptions that they're just like her. And I can't say enough about that, that it's really a good take on understanding this. And that leads me to, I want to make sure I give you something practical before I let you go. And I'm so thankful that if you've made it to this point, thank you, thank you, thank you. What I want to encourage you to do is I want you to go through the 5 traits. And if you can, do the tendencies too, because they will just add a little more zhuzh, a little more oomph to your understanding of your 5 personality traits and where you land on those scales. And I want you to go through those and then think about relationships that just click and work for you. And think about those that you have to use some energy. And some of y'all might be already saying, girl, it's my job. Oh, those people at my job. Well, when you start doing this and you start realizing it's me, they work my nerves because, and you see the traits and you see how far they are from you on that scale, it's going to open your eyes. And it's kind of like you're able to give yourself therapy to be able to like going to work and hanging out, not hanging out, but being around these people every day. Okay. So I want you to do that. And don't forget, tell me in the comments your take on, instead of trying to use a lot of personality typing that's at best a snapshot, hopefully on a good day of you, what these traits and possibly the tendencies will help you to discover about yourself. Because yes, I want everybody to be in Huff and Puff, excuse me. I want everybody to be in the best house they want to be, but I want you to understand what it takes to be there. And if you really need to be there, and I think I messed that up. Gryffindor, man, I messed that up. But anyway, I was thinking about something else. So enough about that. I'm starting to ramble. Thank you so much for your time. And I am going to see you sooner than later. Don't forget to check the description, any pinned comments, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Oh, and like some people have started to do, tell me if there are other topics or videos that you'd like for me to do. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So I'll talk to you soon. Thanks. This is Michelle from Brilliant Quest. Bye.